A cordial greeting to all viewers who tune TvAgro. My name is Alexander Kuman, General Director of Palmar, and today we are at the inauguration of the experimental field Palmar de las Corocoras located in the eastern plains of Colombia. This experimental field is one of the bases of palm cultivation in Colombia, where we carry out science and technology and innovation activities combining field work in experimental crops, with laboratory work where we really seek to advance, not only the barriers of knowledge but also to study new technologies to make crops increasingly sustainable, profitable and competitive. Well, today at the inauguration of this experimental field Palmar de las Corocoras, one of the 4 fields we have in Colombia, what we want to do is to show the palm community the whole approach of palm agriculture to the needs we have in this area. The strategic objective that we have, basically, is to solve this phytosanitary and productive problem, always looking for the business to be profitable and sustainable in time. Tell you that this experimental field is located in the eastern zone, more exactly in Paradebano, Cundinamarca. We are 5 kilometers away from the municipal capital, and tell you that this project begins. This project begins in 2011. Where the land is acquired, but already in 2012 is where this project begins with the planting of the first materials, 2012 plantings, interspecific hybrid materials where 7 cultivars of different origins are being continuously evaluated. In the laboratories we find areas of service to the palm grower with the foliar and soil analysis laboratory, as well as laboratories dedicated to research in phytopathology, entomology and oil quality. In the field we have a collection of different oil palm cultivars, both the African palm, Elias guineensis, and the interspecific hybrids, Elias guineensis crossed with Elias oleifera, which has a source of resistance to PC, making it very desirable for Colombian palm growers today. In these interspecific cultivars we have done a great deal of research work to generate a technological package to make these crops increasingly profitable and productive, not only at the field level but also in the processing plants, seeking a higher oil content and thus a benefit for both the palm grower and the entire agro-industrial chain behind. Let's say that among these objectives are initially to be able to strengthen the institutional framework, to be a reference for the farmers in the area, to be able to give them productive tools, but at the same time to be on the way to a much more sustainable agriculture. To be able to tell you that we are close to several farmers producers in the area of different palm nuclei very close to the Humia Alliance. We have Hacienda La Cabana, we also have Palma Llano. We have our neighbors of Guaycaramo, and towards the area much more of Casanare we have the southern extractor of Casanare, and we have Palmas del Oriente that together with them in different management committees and also agronomic committees, we seek this joint strategy and the needs that we have on a daily basis in relation to what corresponds to the management of the crop. Last year we were able to discover the causal agent of lethal wilt, the most limiting disease of palm growing in the eastern plains. It is a real threat because the disease is really lethal. Palm detected with lethal wilt has to be eliminated. We have been working for several years in the detection and elimination of these palms in coordination with the palm companies. But only last year we were able to discover the causal agent. This was achieved by applying modern biotechnology techniques. That allowed us to identify Liberbacter candidates as the causal agent. This opens the doors to develop new methodologies for early detection. seeking also the application of biotechnology, and also allows us to look for alternative hosts and different vectors. We hope that this really leads us to a more timely detection and control of the disease in the future, where we really seek year after year to reduce the number of cases and thus really have a containment at minimum levels of this incidence in the eastern plains. Today we are basically showing the infrastructure, an infrastructure that according to the needs of the palm growers. We have some administrative modules that are occupied and used for different meetings. For people who want to visit us, they have the opportunity to hold specific meetings. We have our SIT Palmero, where we have a large list of documentation, both national Sena Palma but also foreign. We have the large module that corresponds to the auditorium, where we have a capacity of up to 60 people. This is a comprehensive service for the community where the benefit is the palm grower, and they can make different meetings and events that really need the area. Palma has had a presence in the eastern plains almost since its beginnings, year 91. But only after a more important time we managed to consolidate our own field. In the early years we operated within the facilities of the ICA in Villavicencio. We rented a house in the same city. We also have facilities within Unipalma de los Llanos in Cumaro. But more recently this experimental field was acquired by Palma. We are talking about 2011, and we gradually built an infrastructure as resources were available, and we were also able to invest in the planting of different experimental crops. This leads to the fact that today we have a total of 3,000 square meters built, 1,700 in laboratories, and the rest is in offices and different support areas. We have already planted around 220 hectares of Guineensis materials and hybrid materials with different cultivars from a germplasm bank that are being evaluated at different planting densities and evaluating their productive and agronomic performance. And also Guineensis materials that are being evaluated to assess their performance in the face of different phytosanitary problems. Within the infrastructure we also have several laboratories that, due to the needs of the area, and to have them closer to the farmers, we have some laboratories that correspond to phytopathology that solve the problems of the different agents that cause damage to the plants. We are working on bud supply. We are managing and solving problems related to basal rots and lethal wilt. There is the entomology laboratory, where basically what we do is to follow up on the population dynamics of insect pests that really cause a deficit, a decrease in productivity due to leaf damage. But we are also looking for their natural enemies in order to focus on a much more biological management, on a much more friendly management, with the search for entomopathogens, with the search for predators, with the search for many parasitoids, and this obviously accompanied by what corresponds to the management and planting of beneficial and nectariferous plants. We have another laboratory that has to do with the processing area. The emphasis, perhaps I remind you, of this field, is both soils, soil management and agronomy, but also what corresponds to the processing. What do we do in this laboratory? To be able to look in a certain way at the physico-chemical compositions of our oil, its quality, to be able to compare it in relation to different cultivars, but also to help the palm grower to determine their losses that they have basically in the extraction plant process, and they can also find those benefits that give us both in human food, but also as an important product in the refinery of what corresponds to biodiesel. The agronomy laboratory also carries out soil physical and chemical characterization work, a service that is also provided, which seeks to find the real needs of the crop in this area, to provide adequate management, mainly in terms of base leveling, evaluating the best agronomic practices if necessary, drainage and tillage management. And we have the foliar and soil analysis laboratory, which is, let's say, something very important to know, that they have been with us since November. They have moved in continuously with high quality equipment, with all their quality and service, but also with all that human capital, with all those technicians who know and analyze each of the samples in such a way that we can be closer to the farmer. It has state-of-the-art technology. New technology that allows it to make much faster diagnoses. They can make diagnoses in batches of different nutrients, both soil and foliar level, and obviously accompanied by what corresponds to the TvAgro service with the different products and services that they provide us. Will also be accompanied by that advice and support to be able to solve those problems, and in a certain way be much closer to us and be able to solve everything that always worries us on a daily basis. But it is good that TvAgro is already with us, not only in the LAPSI service but also in the GeoPalma service. We remind you the GeoPalma service, which is our geographic information system and data management system, but also the products such as apalloneseptic acid and also the pheromone that allows us to attract the Rhynchophorus palmaris, a cause of bud rot. We would like to invite you to visit the Palmar de las Corocoras Experimental Field, and remind you that this field belongs to you who have made this possible with your contribution. We like that this is the home of the palm growers, so the palm growers are very welcome to visit this experimental field. We encourage them to contact their palm nucleus. Through the palm nucleus we can schedule a visit, so we can really make a tour of the group of palm growers belonging to that nucleus and make this visit really very enriching for everyone.